I just don't understand how it gets to the point where...
Well, things get to terrible places one tiny step at a time. You know, if I encroach on you and I'm sophisticated about it, I'm going to encroach 2 millimeters. I'm going to encroach right to the point where you start to protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. Then you're going to calm down. Then I'm going to encroach again right to the point where you protest. Then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to wait. And I'm just going to do that forever. And before you know it, you're going to be back 3 miles from where you started, and you'll have done it one step at a time. And then you'll go, oh, how'd I get here? And the answer was, well, I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone, and you agreed. And so then I pushed you a little farther than you should have gone again, and you agreed. And if anybody's interested in this sort of process, and this is a horrifying book, if you want to read about how this process works, you can read a book called Ordinary Men by Robert Browning.
I just don't understand.
So there's the video, and it touches on sort of this human condition phenomenon that we talked about when Zuby Music was on the show with us, and we did, you know, an hour-long interview with him, which you guys can go check out in our previous episodes. But we talked about something called the complacency ladder, and it's a tool that people in power and people in the hierarchy use against the people who are below them. And it's starting off by making a somewhat small, seemingly menial task or menial ask of a group of people, and they go, okay, well, given the current situation or the current crisis, as we would call it today, sure, I will go along with that. And they push it for as long as they possibly can. And then when people get upset and start to protest, they take back a little bit. But then when they rejoin that complacency ladder, we're no longer on step 1, we're on step 2. So it's not one mask anymore, it's double masking. And it's not, you know, going out of your house just to get groceries. It's don't go out of your house at all. It's constantly growing.
Right, so that's why when there are sometimes some wins, or you move to somewhere like Florida, or you feel like you have some freedom, that doesn't mean to be complacent whatsoever. That means that you have to continue to fight so things can continue to get better. You know, just because they stopped for a millisecond and gave you some breathing room because they saw people were getting upset does not mean that this is now the time to stop your advancement.
Right.
Right. It's like, I mean, if any of you guys have brothers and sisters, you know, when you're a little kid and you like continually like flick them in the ear or something and you do it over and over again until they yell at you. And then once they yell at you, you calm down and then you start flicking them again in the same spot. And it's like every time you can continue to see, you can push your limits, see how much you can get away with.
Yep.
Until they punch you in the face.
Right. I mean, I'll give a more extreme example of that. The relationship that we're currently in with our government right now is the relationship you would be in if you were with somebody who's a domestic abuser. They hit you, you cry, they apologize, they back down, they're super nice to you for a few weeks, and the next time they hit you, it's worse, and the next time they hit you, it's worse, and the next time they hit you, it's worse. And this is why so often in these cases you meet women and males who are in these relationships, and they're told, you know, but she was so nice 2 weeks ago, or he just bought me flowers. And that's what the government does to you. They slap you across the face, you cry and scream and protest, and they buy you flowers, and you go, oh my gosh, the government's so nice.
I'll forgive your student loan debt. It'll be great.
Yep. And then you have the people who are us. We're the police officers in this case. We come along and we're like, you need to get out of this relationship. You need to stand up to them, or you just need to, you know, step away and say you're not going to comply with this anymore, or you're going to get killed. And then you get killed.
Excuse me. That's why I'm not worried about people. You know, people like to get upset when someone embellishes something or is exaggeratory or says like this is the worst case scenario, something that could happen, and people want to say, well, you're just fear mongering, you're just putting out the worst possible case. And it's like, well, you realize why people do that. You know, some people just do it for clout and because they want people to follow them. I get that. But a lot of people who are saying like this is the worst case scenario, this is what could happen, and then people say they're overreacting, is because they want to showcase what could happen when you give them an inch.
Yep.
Right? Every time you give them an inch, they will eventually take that mile. You have to be prepared for the worst, because if the worst happens, you need to be ready for it.